guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Tara and my YouTube channel name is The Planting Bug. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about this gorgeous, huge plant, which is called the Monstera Deliciosa. Better known as the Swiss cheese plant, but I'm going to be talking about this baby. So I do own a few of the Monstera Deliciosas. This is the first plant that I bought. As you can see, it's growing wild. I have propagated from this. So this one is just as beautiful. It's not quite as big as the other one that I got, but this one here is the first one that I planted or bought. And I will try to post a picture of what it looked like when I first got it. All right, so let's go ahead and get comfortable and talk about the Monstera Deliciosa. It is such a trendy, popular plant right now. You see them in restaurants and just all over Instagram. I fell in love with this plant. So this one here is one that I propagated. I propagated this one from the really big one that I just showed you a minute ago. And that big plant is named Cal Drogo. I do name all of my plants eventually. But I went ahead and propagated off of that big one. I just wanted to experiment. I've never propagated before, and this was one of the first plants that I propagated, and this has done very well. So as you can see, I've got it in this cute pot that I got from TJ Maxx, but inside it is the nursery pot. I'll go ahead and pull this out and show you. So when I propagated it, it had these 3 leaves on it right here. None of them had the split leaves yet, but just recently it did unfurl a new leaf, and as you can see, it is starting with the split leaf. This is what you love to see on a Monstera Deliciosa. You love to see the split leaves. That is like the leaves that get you excited when you see them unfurl. And so I was really excited to see that off of this one that had no split leaves, that the first leaf that unfurled had one split in it. Then I have this most recent propagation that I did off of my very first Monstera that I bought that I just showed you, which is back here. This one right here. So I had to propagate this one because it ended up getting too heavy, and I will show you that propagation next. So here is the actual footage of me realizing that this Monstera Deliciosa has gotten too heavy. The branch, as I was dusting off these leaves, just kind of flopped down. It was just too heavy. I was really upset about it when it happened, but I just decided I would take this opportunity to go ahead and propagate. So I'm going to show you how I propagate my Monstera Deliciosa. It is very simple to do, and I will try to explain it the best way that I can here. So on this plant, you will see little nodes on the stems. I'm going to try to point it out here the best to you that I can, but what you're going to want to do is find one of the nodes and just cut right below the node. Make sure you're using very sharp scissors to do this. And then what I like to do next is get a clear jar, go ahead and add some water to it, and then you're going to go ahead and add that fresh cutting that you just did from that Monstera Deliciosa. So I'm going to add it there. We're going to watch roots establish. It is so fascinating, but you honestly could just go ahead and plant it in soil now if you would like. But what I'll do is give this a few weeks, maybe up to a month, and watch the roots just get well and established, and then I'll go ahead and plant it in soil. So as you can see, it is super easy to propagate and works very well, because if you look at this propagation that I did, this was probably about a week and a half ago, and if I pull this out of the water that it's been sitting in, you can already see that it's got growth. So I will be replanting this very soon in an upcoming video. I'll show you how I replant it. I'm gonna wait for more roots to get established. You really could plant this now, but I love to watch the roots become well established and grow. I just think it's so interesting. And so I am loving the whole propagation process. So if you are buying plants for the first time and trying to figure out how to propagate, just do your research. I'll try to show you best in my videos how I do it. But don't be afraid of it, because now I've gotten 4 plants, and two of them are free off of my current plants. So that is awesome. It's a really cheap and easy way to grow your plant family in your home. You want this plant to grow in a brightly lit area, in indirect sunlight. So you don't want it sitting right in front of a window where the leaves could brown and burn. You want it to be in indirect sunlight. I'll show you here a video of where I keep my big Monstera Deliciosa. So as you can see, I've got this huge plant here just sitting on my banister of my stairway, and there is a large window. This is an east-facing window, but it still gets a lot of natural light, and just this room in general gets a lot of light every day. So this is where I have mine located. So as you can see, that isn't directly in front of a west-facing window. That is in an east-facing window. So it gets tons of natural light, but it's not direct and hot sunlight that could burn the leaves. So when it comes to watering, and this is how I am with all of my plants, but right now we're just talking about the Monstera Deliciosa, I use this to help me decide if a plant needs to be watered or not. So about once a week, sometimes twice a week, I will check the soil on my plant, and I will let this gadget tell me if it needs to be watered or not. Okay guys, so when it comes to watering, I feel like it's best to take the guessing out of it. You do not want to ever overwater a Monstera Deliciosa. It's a very easy plant to take care of, and honestly, if you maybe missed watering it 1 week, it really isn't going to do it any damage. But overwatering it would. You do not want to promote root rot. Sorry, that's a tongue twister. So you do not want to promote root rot, and that would happen if you overwatered it and water was sitting in the bottom of the pot. So you want to make sure that you have a well draining pot. Nursery pots are amazing. You can keep your plants into nursery pots for quite a long time, and they are very well draining pots. They have holes at the bottom, and that is the type of pots you want to use. A lot of the decorative plants or pots that you see me use, the nursery pots just go right inside it. So like I said, you want to check your soil about once a week, sometimes twice a week, just depending on the week. Check it to see if it needs to be watered. If it does not need to be watered, then don't water it. If it tells you it does, then go ahead and water it. So next, let's talk about temperature. So I live in Utah and we have really cold summer. So this is never the type of plant you would want to have outdoors here in my climate. These plants are known for growing in tropical states, and they get huge. I've seen pictures where they're just massive. But if you're gonna have it like me inside a home, then you want to have it about 68 to 86 degrees, which is about the temperature inside a home. So it does really well here in the summer months and in the winter months, as long as you keep it indoors. Next, let's go ahead and talk about humidity. So once in a while, I do mist it. A lot of people feel like they need to mist and spray their plants down. It isn't extremely necessary in the research that I have been doing, but it doesn't hurt it also. plants in the morning if you feel like spraying them so that they can dry out during the day, because a lot of times if you do it at night, then that moisture can sit on the leaves and it can cause fungus. So it's just something that you'd want to do maybe in the earlier part of the day and let it dry out on the leaves throughout the day. Another thing that is really important to do to your plants just every once in a while, I probably do this every other week, is you want to dust your leaves on your plants. They do accumulate dust once in a while. If you notice that, you just want to take a microfiber cloth and just dust it off so that those leaves can breathe. Next, let's talk about fertilizer or feeding your plants. They do want food. So you're gonna wanna do that every month or every other month in the spring and summer months. That is when your plants are growing and new leaves are unfurling. So that is the time that they like to be fertilized. In the winter times, you do not need to fertilize them at all. So right now I just use the Miracle-Gro. They're the little spikes that you put in the soil and they just disintegrate over time. I am working at learning a little more about fertilizing and feeling a little more comfortable with it. So as I kind of grow in that progress with my plants, I'll go ahead and share it with you. It is also important to talk about toxicity of these plants, as they are poisonous to animals, dogs, cats, humans. You do not want to ingest this plant. It'll make you sick and sometimes cause death. So you definitely do not want to be eating this. If you have small children, if you have animals, you want to try to keep it up off the ground so that they cannot get to the plant. This plant, you can see how big it can get. I am just allowing this one to grow wild, so it's going to grow wide. But a lot of people do put moss poles in the middle of the plant, and these plants tend to grow upwards. They will grow on the vine and grow upwards, and they're beautiful when they do that, so it can make a great statement piece. Right now, I'm just letting this beautiful Monstera do its own thing here. My daughters and my husband gave me this plant for my birthday, which was in November. So that's 8 months ago. And I'll show you a picture of what it looks like when I first got it. And now, as you can see, it has just grown huge. It is doing so well. It is so cool to compare like the size of the leaves to your hand. Another thing that's really cool with these plants is, like I said, some of them have the split leaves on them, some of them don't. The leaves that don't have them are just as gorgeous. But that can be a sign. If you don't see a lot of split leaves happening on your plant, then you know that it's not getting enough bright light. So you want to really make sure, as you can see here, I've got this sitting on a ledge and it gets sun from every direction in my house, but not direct light, because if it gets the direct light, you will get the burnt leaves. So this guy is really happy where it's at right now and doing amazing. I'm so proud of this plant. And to tell you the truth, this is a great plant for a beginner. You know, you can't just put it in your home and ignore it, of course, but it's very easy to take care of. So when people ask me, hey, what plant should I buy? I'm a beginner. This is one that I send them to. There's actually quite a few. Their plants are just amazing and so much fun to play with. Not all of them turn out great, but that is my biggest thing. Like the second I bought my very first plant, I was hooked, and that was about 1.5 years ago. And now I am just decorating my house with plants. I really don't care about painting walls. I want to decorate with plants. So if you're interested at all about getting a house plant, the Monstera Deliciosa is definitely one that will work great for beginners. Just follow all of my guidelines on how to take care of it and you should be very successful. So that really is everything that I have to share with you on the Monstera Deliciosa. It is such a great plant. This one here again is my propagated one. As soon as I have more roots established, I will be bringing a video to you guys to show you how I plant this. I'll talk about the soil that I use and all of that good stuff. So if you are new here to my channel, The Planting Bug, I sure would love to have you join my plant family. So go ahead and hit that red subscription button, turn on the notification bell so you're notified each time I upload, and also follow me over on Instagram. It's also called The Planting Bug. But yeah, isn't this just gorgeous? I hope you guys enjoy. Talk to you soon. So just wanting to show you here, this is, like I showed you, one that I propagated, and I do have it facing this huge west facing window. So it is still getting bright light, but it's not directly in the window. And I just feel like this promotes growth a lot better on the newly propagated Monstera. And then up here, these are some floating shelves that my husband did for me. As you can see, there's a lot of plants on that, and I'm going to be sharing all of these with you guys on my channel. But this here is my propagation that I just recently did, and as you can see, it is up here on the shelf getting some great, bright, indirect sunlight. I did just change the water. I try to change the water and keep it nice and clean every week. And like I said, once there's more root growth established on this, I will go ahead and bring a video showing you how I plant a propagation of the Monstera Deliciosa.